TruePoint Site-Specific Safety Plan. ECS is committed to the health and safety of our employees as well as our subcontractors. In our efforts to make our project hazard-free and provide the safest working conditions possible, we expect all site personnel to learn and implement the following safe work practices and rules. The following Site-Specific Safety Plan, SSSP, outlines in detail all project requirements and is intended to train and coach all trade partners during the entirety of this project. All project safety requirements and applicable OSHA regulations are to be strictly followed by all workers and visitors while at the construction site. After completing this orientation, each member of the site personnel will receive a hard hat sticker with an assigned number. Visitors are required to read and sign a release form and must be accompanied at all times while on site. The site-specific safety plan requirements are as follows. Immediately report all accidents, property damage, injuries, near misses, unsafe acts, conditions, or practices to ECS project superintendents and your supervisor. Any and all photos of accidents are the property of Equity Construction Solutions and may not be sent to friends, family, posted on social media or other entities without the expressed written permission of Equity Construction Solutions. It is mandatory to submit accident reports to the construction office within a span of 24 hours from the time of occurrence. Project start time is 7:00 a.m. Monday through Saturday, with gates opening at 6:15 a.m. Prior to start time, please refrain from loud music, yelling, or any disruptive noises as a courtesy to any nearby residents or businesses. Work hours end at 7:00 p.m. sharp, at which point the gates will be locked and security surveillance cameras will be activated to notify ECS personnel of any site intrusions. ECS maintains a strict policy prohibiting the use or possession of drugs and alcohol while on site. Any violation will lead to immediate dismissal. All employers and employees may be subject to testing before employment, at random, due to probable cause, or after accidents. Test methods may include breathalyzer, urine, and slash or blood tests. Any act of graffiti, tagging, or defacing of site property will result in immediate removal from the site and may jeopardize involvement in all present and future projects with Equity Construction Solutions. Any form of harassing behavior, profanity, vulgarity, including hand gestures, or threats in any language may result in the removal of the project. All employees, personnel, and visitors at the job site possess the authority to stop work if a situation appears, feels, sounds, or smells unsafe, or if an individual simply feels uneasy about the circumstances. They have the full right to exercise their stop work authority. For your safety on this site, wearing hard hats, NC-approved safety glasses, NC-approved prescription glasses, and sturdy work boots is mandatory. Although not obligatory, we highly recommend steel-toe boots. Please note that tennis shoes are not permitted. All personnel on site are required to wear high-visibility clothing. Acceptable garments include t-shirts or vests in orange or lime green. These vests must feature a reflective 2-inch stripe and should be free from any noticeable tears or rips that could get snagged or caught on surrounding objects during work activities. Attire must adhere to the following guidelines. No sleeveless tops, sleeves must be at least 4 inches long, and pants must be full length. Short pants are not permitted. At minimum, level 2 protective gloves are required while working or handling materials. For tasks such as hot work or chemical handling, specific protective and PPE requirements apply. For reference, the Safety Data Sheet, SDS, is conveniently available to all employees at the ECS headquarters. Employees are required to carry and use hearing protection in areas with high noise levels or when performing tasks that produce high noise. According to OSHA, the action level is set at 85 decibels and higher for an 8-hour permissible exposure limit, which requires the use of hearing protection. All trades are required to carry out housekeeping duties every day without exception. If you need specific instructions or clarification, please contact your superintendent. Employees are required to wear NIOSH, National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health, approved respiratory protection when necessary. Prior to usage, employees must undergo and pass a fit test. Please be advised that smoking is strictly limited to specified controlled areas. It is prohibited to smoke inside any buildings or portable restroom facilities on this project. Please note that the maximum speed limit for all project vehicles is 10 miles per hour. In the event that two vehicles reach an intersection simultaneously, the vehicle on the operator's left holds the right-of-way. However, this can be overridden if the driver with the right-of-way signals the other to proceed, either with hand gestures or by flashing the vehicle's headlamps twice. Seatbelts, functioning backup alarms, and horns are mandatory safety features for all commercial vehicles, heavy machinery, and forklifts. These functions must be verified to be operational on a daily basis, in addition to the weekly inspection reports required for each vehicle or piece of equipment. Please note that certain equipment may necessitate daily inspections specific to these items. When handling large or long loads that obstruct the operator's visibility, the use of spotters is mandatory. If another vehicle is being utilized as a spotter, it must have its emergency flashers activated to alert nearby site personnel to the ongoing activity. For this project, the clearance for overhead power lines will be set at a minimum of 15 feet. This exceeds the current OSHA standard, which requires a 10-foot clearance for up to 50 kV and an additional 4 and 3/8 inches clearance for every 10 kV beyond 50 kV. Every employee is required to participate in stretch and flex warm-up exercises before starting each shift. During winter months, when temperatures approach single digits or colder, it may be necessary to perform additional stretch and flex warm-up exercises following prolonged breaks or lunch periods. This is because the body can cool down during these periods, leading to potential muscle stiffness or tightness. Each day, before starting any work, it's required to fill out pre-task plans or job hazard analysis (JHA) forms. These forms must include the names of all crew members involved, as well as their signatures, signifying their complete understanding of the total scope of work for that workday. Digital copies of the form are permissible. However, crew members should be able to articulate their understanding of the form's contents if requested by a superintendent. For your safety, do not climb on or work from handrails, mid-rails, or braces. Always use a ladder for ascending or descending scaffolds. Before each use, thoroughly inspect tall ladders for any damage or defects, and ensure that the manufacturer's label is clearly legible. Never straddle a stepladder or stand on the second step from the top. While the use of platform ladders is recommended, standard A-frame ladders are also acceptable. Only ladders approved by ANSI are permitted for use. Please also ensure that the user's weight is within the specified weight restrictions before starting any work. It is strictly prohibited to disassemble extension ladders and utilize them as individual, standalone working ladders. Extension ladders need to be firmly secured at both ends. They should extend 3 feet above the landing and be positioned at a 75-degree angle, maintaining a 4:1 ratio. The extension ladder should be equipped with a properly functioning halyard, a rope and pulley system for extension and retraction. To ensure safety, employees should always face the ladder when ascending or descending and maintain 3 points of contact at all times. When employees are operating off extension ladders and need both hands for a task, thus preventing the requirement of 3 points of contact, they must secure themselves by tying off. Inevitably, unique situations will occur. In such cases, safety professionals or project superintendents should be consulted to approve and inspect the unconventional work methods necessary to accomplish the task. When working at elevations of 6 feet or more, fall protection is mandatory. The anchor point should comply with OSHA standards, supporting 5,000 pounds per person, and its adequacy must be confirmed by a competent individual. Safety protocols mandate the use of fall protection when working adjacent to a leading edge or at an elevated position near one. The potential fall distance, combined with the worker's height, must be considered and incorporated into these safety measures. When operating scissor lifts and articulating boom lifts, it is mandatory to wear body harnesses. The harness must be in good working condition, properly fitted to the individual, and within the manufacturer's advised 5-year lifespan. It must also be paired with shock-absorbing lanyards. Please note the use of self-retracting lanyards, also known as yo-yos, is strictly forbidden in these types of equipment. Guardrails are required to meet OSHA standards, which stipulate that they must be able to withstand a force of 200 pounds applied within 2 inches of the top edge. Ground workers must maintain a safe distance from overhead equipment or work surfaces, including articulating boom lifts, scissor lifts, or scaffolding. They should not be positioned directly underneath these structures, but rather staggered and offset by at least 15 feet in either direction for safety. When an elevated worker is working in tandem with a crew member below, the use of tool tethers is mandatory for both hand and power tools. The tether should be of an appropriate size and configuration for the specific tool in use. Appropriately remove all protruding nails from lumber using the correct tools. If tools are not readily available, rather than leaving the hazard unattended, either dispose of the loose scrap responsibly or inform a supervisor of the potential danger. Should an environmental spill occur, swiftly alert your supervisor and the ECS project superintendents. Depending on the severity of the spill, utilize the spill kit contents and absorbents as necessary. The ECS superintendents will record the incident and temporarily store the polluted materials in an empty spill kit barrel located in the laydown yard. Always maintain a clear and unobstructed path to all safety and fire equipment stationed at designated assembly points, also referred to as emergency assembly points, EAPs, or muster points, on the premises. Refueling any gas-powered equipment while it is still running is strictly prohibited. All gas cylinders must be securely fastened with a rust-free metal chain and either placed on a dolly or rolling cart in an upright position with their caps on or kept in a secure cage. LPG cylinders should not be stored indoors. Both empty and full propane tanks need to be correctly stored either in a cage or a cabinet. Failure to comply with these storage regulations may result in confiscation by ECS superintendents following a preliminary request for appropriate storage. A maximum of 25 gallons of flammable or combustible liquids can be stored outside of a designated and approved flammable storage room or cabinet. The competent professional, certified by the subcontractor, is in charge of daily equipment inspections related to rigging and hoisting activities. This professional is responsible for examining all slings and rigging before they are used. If any equipment is found to be faulty, or if the tag is missing or illegible, it will be immediately taken out of service. Entry into a confined space is a carefully coordinated procedure that requires several documented preliminary steps. These steps must be undertaken in collaboration with the ECS project superintendents and the subcontractor's competent safety professional or competent person before any confined space work can begin. For excavations exceeding 5 feet in depth, protective systems are required in accordance with OSHA standards. If an excavation reaches a depth of 4 feet or more, OSHA-rated trench ladders must be placed every 25 feet, and these ladders should extend 3 feet above the existing grade. The on-site soil is assumed to be Class C unless laboratory testing classifies it as Class A or B. If conditions, including limited workspace, the presence of multiple utilities, or other constraints, prevent the use of a trench box or sloping, then ECS and trade partner leadership will assess the situation and determine alternative means and methods to carry out the work. An emergency rescue or fail-safe plan will be developed and put in place for that specific task. Spoil piles must be a minimum of 2 feet away from the edge of the trench. Moreover, if a spoil pile is at least 3 feet high, typically waist high or more, it can function as a barricade on one side of the excavation. Any excavation site must be properly secured with reinforced red barricade tape, securely affixed to posts, cones, or lave stakes that can withstand the anticipated wind conditions for as long as the excavation remains open. The barricade tape should be placed at least 3 feet above the ground, typically at waist height or above. Any barricades in general traffic or common areas around the project are required to display at minimum one sign with the name and contact information of the area lead or foreman. All extension cords, required to be at least 12 gauge in thickness, must possess an undamaged ground prong and undergo daily inspections for visible signs of wear or damage. Extension cords must be neatly arranged and kept clear of walkways to prevent tripping hazards. If cords must cross over floor or ground surfaces, use overhead options such as cord suspension. Please note suspension methods must utilize plastic hooks attached to non-energized objects, while ensuring sufficient ground clearance for foot and work traffic. All equipment and tools must undergo mandatory daily inspections before use. Any damaged or defective items, including scaffolding, should be labeled with tags and removed from service immediately. Never interfere with or remove safety mechanisms from tools or equipment. Every contractor is responsible for providing their employees with first aid kits and water. When required by project drawings or specifications, or upon request, subcontractors, superintendents, or safety professionals will provide trade-specific certifications to the project superintendents. All operators of OSHA 10, first aid, CPR, scaffolding, confined space, forklift, scissor lift, and articulating boom lift must provide proof of certification that meets OSHA requirements on the first day of orientation. Employees will be held accountable for any actions, whether careless or deliberate, that cause harm to themselves, others, or damage to materials and equipment. Emergency evacuation and site stand-down instructions. In case of emergencies such as fire, explosion, bomb threat, severe weather, civil disturbance, or utility failure, an air horn will blast 5 times. This signal means everyone must immediately evacuate to the nearest muster point for head count. If lightning strikes within 10 miles of the project, all workers must seek shelter for at least 30 minutes or until superintendents give the all clear. Shelters include fully enclosed vehicle cabs, UDVs, heavy machinery, and job site trailers. Notifications will be communicated via two-way radio or calls/texts to leadership and foremen. Work at elevated levels will be halted when wind speeds consistently reach 25 miles per hour. The project superintendents will inform all corresponding work crews of this specific stand-down situation. This job site maintains a distraction-free environment, prohibiting the use of job radios, headphones, or earbuds. All deliveries are to be coordinated with the project superintendent at least 72 hours prior to arrival. Prior to starting any digging or trenching activities, you are required to fill out and submit a utility installation permit to an ECS superintendent. Before starting any welding or cutting activities, hot work permits must be obtained and reviewed by ECS superintendents. Additionally, a designated fire watch must be assigned to your activity. Equity and Equity Construction Solutions, ECS, will take into consideration any suggestions related to ensuring the safety of employees and the company as a whole. Progressive discipline plan is as follows. First warning, serves as verbal warning. Second warning, written citation with possible temporary suspension and possible removal from the worksite. Third warning, written warning citation including mandatory removal from the worksite. All visitors are required to sign in at the construction office upon arrival and adhere strictly to all safety practices and procedures while on site. The site-specific safety plan is now complete. Please sign the acknowledgement form and get your numbered hard hat sticker. Thank you for being a part of Equity Construction Solutions' commitment to safety.